Hey everybody, today I'm taking a look at Allegory, which is a 2 to 6 player card game designed by Zach Weissman and published by Calliope Games. This one takes 30 to 50 minutes to play. So Allegory is a card-driven bidding game where you're trying to get as many points as you can by collecting these cards. So the setup at the beginning is going to look like this. We've got a number of cards in the centre of the table ready to be bid on, and the number of cards is going to depend on the player count. You've got a deck of cards here, which again is going to scale based on the player count. And each player is going to be given a bunch of these tokens, or these like poker chips. You're going to get a pass token, and you're going to get a secret card here, which is going to incentivize you to collect a particular type. So these would normally be face down, but just for example's sake, I've put them face up. So we know that this player here is looking for these particular cards, and this player here is looking for these particular cards. So as I said, the idea is to get as many points as you can in this game, and the game is going to end once a player has collected 10 of these cards. However, the scoring in this game is a little bit different than your average game, because out of the 3 different suits of cards in the game, so you've got these sun ones, these wing ones, and these greeny ones here. Out of the cards you collect, only the lowest value of your lowest set is going to be your final score. So if I had, say, 7 points in this one here, 5 points in this one here, and 2 points in this one here, I'm only going to score 2 points because it's my lowest. However, there are additional ways you can collect points. One is based on your secret card here. So for every one of these cards I collect, I'm going to get a bonus point. So I might be looking for this one here. And also for each identical set of 3 of these symbols, you're going to get a bonus 2 points. So there's quite a few things you're looking for. So let's talk about how the game actually plays. So first off, the starting player is going to put out a starting bid, should they want to, using these tokens. So let's just say, for example's sake, this player puts out 4 of these tokens in the centre of the table, showing that's their bid. They're not going to show which particular card they're after, but they will be showing how many tokens they've bid. And then it'll go on to the next player, which can either choose to raise that bid or pass. So let's just say this player bids 5 tokens, like so. And then it'll go to the next player, and they can either, again, choose to raise the bid or they can choose to pass. So let's just say this player passed. They're going to move their token into the centre of the table, like so. Then it'll go back to this player as well. Again, are they going to raise the 5 or are they not? Let's just say they pass, and then they're going to take all their tokens back that they bid, back into their supply, and then this player, being the last man standing, is going to get first dibs on the card that they want. So let's just say he really wanted this this card here to start off this set. So they're going to put that card in front of them in their scoring tableau, and then the other one, empty slot, is going to be replaced with a new card from the top of the deck. So that's all pretty standard fare, but the thing that makes this game different is what happens next. So out of all the tokens that they've just used to have that successful bid, they're going to choose to divide those tokens amongst the existing cards. So they can go like this, for example, in any way they see fit. So they can split. They can put, like, 2 on one, or they can put them all on one single card, like so. However they wish. So let's just do this just for an example. And then again, we're going to start with a new round, starting with the player from the left of the winning player. You're going to take your passing tokens back, and then you're going to start again. So is this player going to start a new bid, or the new option they have is when they pass, again, if they put the token in the centre, they can take the card with the most tokens on it, or the joint most. So for a free bid or a free action, they can actually choose to pass and then take this card and put it in front of them for their scoring, and take any tokens as well on the back of that, and of course replenish the cards in the middle. Now, as you can see here now, some cards have minus or negative points on them, which of course you don't really want to get, but sometimes you can afford to take them if you are really running away with a certain colour, and of course the negative cards generally tend to build up these tokens. So as I said, the game is going to keep continuing, going round and round and round, either passing and taking cards with tokens on them, or winning the bids in the first place and dividing out the tokens. So play is going to continue until one player has 10 cards that they've taken, and then scoring, of course, is going to be calculated. So let's just use this example to explain scoring. So as you can see here, these winged cards, I've got a total of 4, 5, 6, take away 2 for 4. This one here, I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one here, I've got 4, 5, 6. Down to a 3. And as you can see, as a total, my lowest of the 3 different types is this one here with 3. So therefore, my points for my cards are going to be 3 points. And then I'm going to look at the matching symbols. So I've got 3 identical hammers here to take my score up to 5, and I've also got 3 umbrellas here to take my score up to 7. And then I'm going to have a look at my hidden roll card here for so it was 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 points in total for my final score. And that's how the score is going to be calculated. And of course, the player with the most points is going to be the winner. So let's talk about how I feel about Allegory. So if you're a regular viewer of my content, you're probably aware that auction and bidding games are really my jam. I tend to really enjoy this genre, and I think it's a timeless mechanism. A lot of the things that happens in Allegory is pretty standard fare. There's not a tremendous amount of uniqueness about it, but the one thing that does really make it unique and is a mechanism that I haven't seen before at all is the way that when you win an auction, the tokens that you've used are divided amongst the cards available. And I think that's a really cool mechanism, and you can use it to incentivize people to take cards that you would want them to take and not take the cards that you're looking for yourself. And I also kind of like this this classic Knizian scoring where, you know, you're collecting different suits and only your lowest suit is your score. That's been done in a lot of games, and I think it's just a great idea of you know, spinning the plates and trying to make sure that you focus on a diverse strategy and diverse on different things rather than just being tunnel visioned and focusing on a single colour. So you really do have to keep all your cards as balanced as possible, because yeah, you can have as many greens as you want and have a total of 50 if you wanted to. But of course, if you're only got one yellow card, then your score is going to be 1. So it's a really cool, clean scoring mechanism that makes, I think it just makes some really interesting decisions. And it really does ramp up the tension of being desperate to claim a certain type if you're just not competing with that particular colour. The additional ways of scoring are okay. You know, you do, of course, get bonus points for having, you know, these little symbols as well. And you've got your bonus roll too, just to add a little bit more option and give you a bit more flexibility to go for different things. So yeah, I really do like the I like that Knizian scoring. It does work well here, and I suppose the biggest thing is the way those tokens are divided, and that can create some pretty interesting decisions. I think the flow of Allegory is quite strange because it does almost feel like when you want a particular card, you know, you're really kind of incentivized to take the one that you need. You're going to end up bidding quite a lot of tokens to take it, and you know, 15 tokens does sound like you've got a lot to start with, but you do quickly run out of them, particularly if you win a couple of auctions in a row, and it does kind of have that stop-start momentum. You know, you do feel flush with coins, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're bankrupt, and then you're flush again because you pass and take the biggest card. So it does have a bit of a start and stop momentum thing about it, but I suppose that's no issue with the game at all, but it is just something that you do have to consider, because you do want to have that flexibility to keep bidding on cards and keep the income of your scoring going. But at the same time, not taking too many cards, even though they might be good, because again, as soon as you get that 10th card down, then that's going to trigger the end of the game, and that can leave you in quite a desperate situation if you've taken too many cards and neglected one of your particular columns. So yeah, the flow of the game is quite strange, and although it flows well in terms of just bidding or passing and then replenishing cards, you do have to consider about how you're going to pace yourself and knowing when to go for that kill. An observation about Allegory, which I would not say is a negative, is the fact that this is a low scoring game. It does feel like you're working pretty hard to get very few points out of it, because of course you're only scoring for your lowest one, but there are a lot of negative cards amongst the deck. You know, there's -1s and -2s, and it does feel like you're constantly just building up and then taking them back down, and building up and taking them back down. It's a strange one. You do feel like you're working very hard for the few points you get, and you know, if you're getting 5 to 10 points in this game, you're probably doing quite well, which does feel a bit different to a lot of the games that come out nowadays, which normally do shower you in points and make you feel like you're having more satisfying, bigger turns. But I suppose that's, again, it's not a bad thing. It's just something you need to kind of understand, that, you know, you're not going to have a bunch of points. You're not going to be flush and counting up, you know, dozens and dozens of points when you end the game. It really is a game of small gains, and you know, getting any single points card to boost up your lowest one is very valuable. And I suppose that ties hand in hand with the fact that this game does feel like it ends quite abruptly. You know, as soon as someone gets that 10th card, it's going to be the end of the game, and you feel like you've just really started to get going. So it's quite a strange one where you feel like it's almost too short and you don't get enough cards to build up in front of you. But again, I don't think that's a negative thing. It's just something that felt a little bit weird and a bit wonky for me when I started playing this one. But of course, now I'm more experienced with it. It does feel like it fits the game quite well. But yeah, when I initially played this one for the first few times, it did feel like it ended too quickly, and I didn't get enough chance to acquire the cards. Because even though you're not, you know, even if you're not winning bids and you want to pace yourself, the other players might be grabbing cards a lot quicker than you, and it doesn't matter how many cards I have. If they take their 10th card, that's going to be the end of it. The time investment of Allegory is pretty damn good. I mean, this does say on the box it takes 30 to 50 minutes. I would argue that it's a bit quicker than that. It does scale from 2 to 6 players, which is going to impact the, of course, the length of the game. You know, if there's 6 players, there's going to be 6 cards in the middle, which is going to be a lot more paralysing, have a lot more thought in your decisions, where in the 3-player game it's going to be a bit more concise. However, it does scale well at all the player counts, and the flow of the play is good. It's pretty snappy, you know, just raising a bid or passing and taking the card with the, with the most chips on them. So it doesn't really have much scope for analysis paralysis, and you are just bidding and not bidding on particular cards. So it does flow pretty well. The player interaction, of course, is meaningful because you don't want to leave tokens to really help players. Even though you might be putting on tokens on cards that you want for yourself, you've got to be careful that other people are going to have their turn before you take yours, so they're probably going to take the card that you put the most tokens on. So generally, as a rule, you want to be putting tokens on negative cards, but again, at the same time, people might be have lows on the of a certain suit. So if I had, I've got 9 points here on my yellow, I can really afford to take a negative yellow cards and just take the tokens on them. So, but at the same time, that's going to contribute to one of my 10 cards. So it really is a balancing act, and it does have some pretty good interaction here. And you've got to not only consider about what you're doing, but what you're leaving your opponent as well. The components and artwork of this game are pretty good. I like these bidding tokens. They're nice and they're nice and robust. The actual cards themselves are of a reasonably good stock, and the artwork on them, I think, fits the game quite well. It does have this kind of fairy tale style artwork. It's almost like tarot card style artwork. It looks quite cool. They're double-ended like playing cards, and I do like the vibe of the game. It does feel quite different. It's got quite a unique art style, which I think fits pretty well. And the setup and teardown time is lightning fast. You just give each player their 15 tokens, just set up the cards in the centre, and give each player one of these bonus rolls or these hidden scoring cards, and you're pretty much good to go. So this isn't going to be a game that's going to be difficult to get to the table or to put back in the box. So overall, I think that Allegory is a pretty solid game. So of course, I like bidding and auction games anyway, and set collection games, and this one just has enough going on to keep it interesting, particularly with the way you distribute those winning bids amongst the other cards. Adds a little bit more thought space there. And of course, spinning the plates of your scoring and only scoring your lowest is always an interesting idea and a way to implement interesting scoring. So I do like that. I suppose the one thing that works against Allegory is the fact that this is competing in the same kind of space as a lot of amazing designs and amazing card-driven auction games. Games like For Sale, games like High Society. Is this one as good as those classics? I don't think it is, to be honest. However, despite that, I think there's just enough going on here to make it unique enough to make sure it hits the table and does break through every now and then. So I do think it's just different enough to maybe warrant having all of them, but I do think it's not as strong as those other kind of aforementioned games. But still a solid design, one that I'd happily play. It's pretty quick. Yes, it is a game of small gains. You do have to, be careful about how you pace yourself and kind of be cognizant of the fact that you're not going to score many points anyway. But still, it's fun. It scales pretty well, pretty fast, and it's just a solid all-round game. So that is Allegory. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you found it useful or at least somewhat entertaining, then please hit like and consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Additionally, if you wish to support the show, because I am a one-man operation and I don't get any support from publishers, then please consider backing it on Patreon at patreon.com/chairman of the board, where you can back for as little as £2 per month. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.